To give another example from the Ottoman palace cuisine, what is used today as bechamel sauce and is recorded in the registers of the relevant kitchens, unfortunately, that is not its name. Its name in the Ottoman palace cuisine is white paste. So, if we consider that tomatoes entered Ottoman lands in 1692, and if we consider that they were consumed green for the first 45 to 50 years, after 1692, 1700 that is, after 1750, bechamel sauce existed in the Ottoman palace cuisine as white paste. But today, seeing this as bechamel sauce in French cuisine, unfortunately deeply saddens me personally as a head chef. Today's project kitchens will, unfortunately, reveal which cooking techniques and which communities' culinary cultures actually belong to the world's culinary culture as a result of the analysis of excavations and remains emerging in Anatolia and other geographies today. Just as nothing will remain hidden, I also sincerely believe with all my heart that the proof and evidence that Anatolian culinary culture is truly an outstanding and remarkable example to the world, and that the real authentic source of so many project kitchens and innovative culinary movements in the world, and especially in Europe, is actually this unique and historically rich geography, will in one way or another eventually and inevitably emerge and become clear to everyone. This region, with its deep-rooted traditions and centuries-old food heritage, continues to inspire and influence countless chefs and food lovers around the globe. What'll happen then? The true ownership of dishes that are thought to shape the world today and are even promoted as my cuisine, my culture, my food will also be registered. If we take a closer look at the wide variety of stuffed dishes, along with their many different types and unique variations that are found throughout Turkish culinary culture, as well as in the rich and elaborate traditions of Ottoman palace cuisine, we can see that one of the most interesting and remarkable stuffed dishes ever made, which stands out among all the others, is stuffed dishes made with special mixtures by stuffing a duck inside a goose, a chicken inside the duck, a partridge inside the chicken, and a quail inside the partridge, and adding rice and the like, such as chestnuts, almonds, and various spices that were very serious sources of healing at the time. It's presented one of the varieties of stuffed dishes in Turkish and Ottoman palace cuisine that'll serve as an example to the world. In the early 17th century, a base for coffee known as tat el kahve or kahve alti, also referred to as futur, meaning to break the fast. And even in Bosnia, the term used there might be ruchka. It could be ruchka. If we were to evaluate this particular situation, I can briefly state that, in my opinion, it's actually a different source within the overall public balance. That is, it comes from a separate area within the public financial structure, distinct from other sources. Because here, after our kitchen underwent its transition to what is known as the European style, a wide variety of cookbooks, as well as many different culinary traditions from various regions, along with a range of cooking techniques and certain items that are made with cake, cookies, candy, and chocolate, were all imposed on us as part of a larger project. This meant that we had to adapt to new recipes, ingredients, and methods which were sometimes unfamiliar, and incorporate them into our daily cooking routines. I must note that the entry of pastry products into folk cuisine was also the beginning of a break from the Ottoman palace kitchen. When talking about Ottoman palace cuisine, one cannot ignore coffee. It was the Ottoman Empire that spread coffee to the world. Now, was there no coffee before that? Yeah, there was. I want to get to that too. But I must say, those who claim in today's history books and articles that Rumi drank coffee are living in a total fantasy world. There was no coffee in these lands during Rumi's time. However, the word coffee does appear in writing. To connect the dots, just as in the language of the Masnavi, where wine is intended to be called syrup, in translations from the Masnavi, the word coffee was also used to mean wine. And wine also means syrup. This is a mistake that has emerged from those translations. I'm making this historical note right now. Now, While saying the Ottoman Empire spread coffee to the world, I'd like to mention that coffee existed before then. There was coffee in Iran back then, but not in powder form like ours. Nor was it ever prepared as a powder in a cup with sugar, honey, or molasses added to it for sweetness, as some people might do with other drinks. There were dhikr gatherings in Iran at that time. In those dhikr gatherings, to help keep the dervishes awake for a longer time and to keep the lodge lively and vibrant, the sheikhs and leaders would carefully crush it into tiny pieces, sometimes even smaller than a single grain of bulgur. I won't say for hours, but it is boiled for a long time. To soften it, some milk or molasses is added to it. They serve it to the dervishes without losing its properties. This way, the lodge stays in dhikr much longer, and the dervishes can stand for a long time without getting tired. Today, the coffee drunk in the Arab world is also different. It has been completely turned into powder. Just like the example in Iran, milk and sugar are added and it's boiled almost like a meal. Then it's passed through a fine wire strainer and put into small thermoses. That coffee sits in the middle of the table or on a side table all day long. Beside it, in small shot glasses, not cups, mind you, but glasses, it's poured at any time of day. Hot or cold doesn't matter much because the thermos keeps it warm anyway. It is consumed in this way. Coffee in the Ottoman Empire was completely different from today's examples. Actually, when coffee first entered the Ottoman Empire, it was initially banned because of the opening of coffeehouses, the wasting of time, its association with hookers, and the increase in gossip. But later on, when the state realized that coffee was included in the official price control records and considered the significant tax revenue from its high consumption, it led to the ban being lifted and permission being granted. Ultimately, empires and states have always taken tax revenues into account. Now, after coffee became widespread in the Ottoman Empire and hookahs entered the coffeehouses, there was even a powder sprinkled on those hookahs. Why powder? They call that Istanbuli. But later, it was completely banned and eliminated. Europe is famous for stealing the spotlight. They are experienced at it. The coffee that went from us to Europe? I mean, you took this from me. Even though it's not technically mine, even if its roots are in Ethiopia and it came from there, the truth is that this product emerged in the Ottoman Empire, in Istanbul, through the Silk Road, the Maritime Silk Road. It went from us to you. It went to Europe. What did it go as? It left as kave. 180 or 200 years later, it came back as coffee. So who does coffee belong to? Now, if you ask anyone in the world, not just in Turkey, they'll say England, Europe, they'll say Italy, or they'll say America. In fact, the truth is that the West, which is successful in stealing the spotlight, and other related countries, sold the coffee they took from us, the coffee they took as Turkish coffee, back to us as coffee 200 years later, and they sold it in hundreds of varieties. To elaborate a bit more, coffee is actually from the port of Mocha, which America calls mocha coffee today. And the name coffee comes from being loaded from the city of Kofi. So the city's name is Kofi and the port's name is Mocha.